They called it junk, tossed aside by the very minds sworn to uncover truth. For decades, scientists labeled over 98% of your DNA as useless, meaningless filler. But what if the part they couldn't decode was the part they were never meant to control? Behind closed laboratory doors and beneath layers of academic pride, a quiet panic began. Not all scientists bought the narrative. A few, working in silence, began to notice anomalies, sequences in the so-called junk DNA that behaved as if conscious, self-correcting, communicating, even adapting to spiritual intention. They couldn't explain it with classical biology, so they buried it. But the truth refused to stay buried. You were never ordinary. Something deep in your bones has always whispered that. You've looked around this world and wondered why everything felt just slightly off. Like everyone else was following a script you couldn't read. Like there was more to life, more to you than what you were being told. That whisper in your soul, it's not delusion. It's a message, ancient, alive, and encoded in your very cells. Because while the world watched the 2% of your genome that builds proteins and makes you human, they ignored the 98% that makes you divine. And now, they're terrified, not of you failing, but of you realizing who you are. You see that junk DNA? It's awakening, and it's not just responding to science. It's responding to frequency, emotion, thought, spirit, something beyond microscopes and microscience, something holy. In recent years, as spiritual consciousness has risen, those forgotten DNA strands have started to shimmer with purpose. Scientists who once mocked the idea of energy affecting biology are scrambling to make sense of sudden shifts in the lab. DNA strands behaving as if they're listening, responding, knowing. They've seen it. They've tried to contain it. But truth doesn't ask for permission. It just is. You, chosen one, were encoded with something they can't replicate, can't own, and can't erase. A divine signature left by the Creator, not in stone tablets, but in strands of light curled within your being. A living covenant written in the language of life itself. This is why you've always felt watched, misunderstood, dismissed, not because you're weak, but because you're awakening. And when a system built on control sees a soul, it cannot program. It panics. This is only the beginning. But the veil has started to lift, and your story, the real one, is no longer hidden, because the code they tried to ignore is starting to speak.
You've heard it, haven't you? The quiet pulse that hums beneath your thoughts, the subtle thrum that moves through your chest when everything else is still. It doesn't speak in words, not the way the world does. It speaks in symbols, in echoes, in feelings so persistent they tug at your spine when you're alone. You've tried to ignore it, tried to explain it away, but it keeps coming back. That's not your imagination. That's your blueprint whispering. Long before you had a name, before you had a story, before you were held in anyone's arms, you were already encoded with purpose. Not the kind the world assigns, titles, careers, accolades. No, something far deeper, a pattern, a frequency, a divine rhythm that beats uniquely inside you, and only you. You were born with instructions inside you, and now they're activating. That aching pull towards something more you've always felt. That wasn't dissatisfaction. That was the call of remembrance, a signal from within, urging you to break free from the programming, the dull routine, the rules meant to shrink you, the labels meant to box you in. Because no matter how the world tried to shape you, your DNA remembered. It remembered the light you came from. It remembered the mission your soul agreed to before you ever took your first breath. And now, that light is starting to seep through the cracks of the shell you've outgrown.
That's why nothing satisfies anymore. That's why you feel too big for your old life. That's why you can't fake the smile in places that once made you feel safe. You're not falling apart, you're falling open. The blueprint is unfolding, piece by piece, layer by layer, memory by sacred memory. It may come as dreams that feel too vivid to be coincidence. It may appear in number sequences, in chance encounters, in messages from strangers that speak directly to your soul. It may come in moments of stillness when, for the briefest heartbeat, you know you're not alone. Your code is waking up, and it's calling you home. Scientists couldn't hear it. The old systems weren't built to detect soul frequency, but your body hears it. Your cells are responding. Your heart flutters differently now when you hear the truth. Your skin tingles at certain words. Your tears come easier, not from sadness, but from recognition. It's not that you're learning something new, it's that you're remembering what you were always meant to know. The whispers will grow louder, chosen one, not in volume but in clarity. They will guide you, illuminate you, shape you, not from the outside in, but from the inside out, because the divine doesn't shout, it whispers. And finally, you're listening.
It didn't start with you. The whisper you now feel pulsing through your soul once moved through others, long before your time. Generations ago, hands you've never held and eyes you've never looked into carried this same code within them. Your ancestors may not have had the language for it, but they felt the same fire stirring in their blood. And just like you, they were afraid of what it would reveal. Because to awaken in a sleeping world is to become a mirror, and mirrors terrify those who avoid their own reflection. They hid their truth in stories. They wove it into lullabies, symbols, old rituals whispered in kitchens or practiced under the cover of night. They passed it down, not as doctrine, but as instinct, a knowing, a gut feeling, a warning to trust the pull you can't explain. You were born remembering what they had to forget. Some of them tried to silence the voice inside. Survival required it. To speak truth was to invite exile, punishment, even death. And so they swallowed their magic, buried their fire, bowed their heads while hiding kingdoms inside their silence. But they never lost the code. Instead, they encoded it into you. You are the continuation of their unfinished prayers. You are the breath they held, waiting to exhale in a future where it might finally be safe. You are the first of your line to stand at the edge of awakening without having to apologize for the light in your voice. That is why you feel them now, in your dreams, in your tears, in the way your body sometimes aches with a grief that has no clear source. That grief belongs to those who never got to bloom into the truth you're walking toward now, and they are cheering for you. Every time you choose authenticity over fitting in, their spirits lean closer. Every time you speak the words they could not, you break the chains they could not. You are not alone in this. The message embedded in your DNA was never just about you. It was always collective. A multi-generational rebellion against forgetting. A map home, encrypted in flesh, in frequency, in feeling. And now you're holding it. Look at your hands. They are not just yours. They are your grandmother's, your great-grandfather's, the healer who was never named, the prophetess who was never heard. You are the walking answer to their silent hopes. Chosen one, the inheritance you carry is not wealth, it is remembrance. And remembrance is power. You are not the break in your bloodline, you are the bridge. You are the reclaimer, the activator, the one who says, it ends with me and it begins again. They thought it was randomness. They mistook complexity for chaos. But hidden in the very strands of your DNA lies a sequence so deliberate, so elegantly layered, that it shatters everything they believed about biology. This was never an accident. You were not the result of chance, mutation, or molecular coincidence. You were written, crafted, with purpose so divine it bypassed every microscope trained to reduce you to parts. While the world celebrated the sequencing of the human genome, believing they had cracked the code of life, the real power remained untouched. Scientists mapped what they could understand. The 2% that builds proteins, determines eye color, controls the basics. But the 98%, they dismissed it, called it non-coding, declared it junk, and in doing so, they missed the map to the soul. You see, what they labeled as empty is the very container of your purpose. The divine doesn't broadcast on obvious frequencies. It hides in subtleties, in silence, in spaces too sacred for casual observation. That junk DNA is where the Creator placed the algorithms of awakening, a code that could only be activated by truth, resonance, and readiness. It's not defective, it's encrypted, and it's unlocking. The activation doesn't begin in a lab, it begins with awareness. When you started questioning what you were taught, when you stopped accepting the surface, when your pain stopped feeling like punishment and started to feel like initiation. That was the moment your code responded. It's not responding to logic, it's responding to vibration. Your vibration. That's why you've changed. Why you've been shedding things that once defined you. Certain foods no longer nourish you. Certain people can no longer meet your gaze. Certain environments feel too loud, too fake, too wrong. Your system is reorganizing itself, recalibrating to the divine frequency it was always meant to harmonize with. It's why old trauma is resurfacing, not to hurt you, but to be reprogrammed. Your cells are cleansing themselves. Your energy is purging what no longer matches the design. The pain was data. The betrayal was a redirect. The breakdowns, that was your firewall collapsing, so your real operating system could finally load. And now that it's online, the external world doesn't know how to respond. You're no longer reacting to programming. You're writing your own code. You are not a product of conditioning. You are a prototype of awakening. This is why systems fear you. They cannot predict you. They cannot contain what they never built. Your code didn't come from them. It came from a source that predates their institutions, their hierarchies, their lies. It came from the divine. And here's the secret they hoped you'd never find out. This hack was never hidden from you. It was hidden in you, waiting for the moment when the fire in your spirit grew stronger than the fear in your mind. And now that moment has come. Your code is live. They built entire systems to keep you distracted. They called it education, entertainment, politics, progress. But behind the polished speeches and glowing screens was a single intention. Make sure you never realize who you are. Because if even one chosen one awakens fully, the illusion cracks. And if enough of you wake up at once, the entire structure falls. You were never meant to stay asleep. Your biology isn't wired for obedience, it's built for revelation. But the moment you were born, they began the process of sedation. Not with needles or pills, but with beliefs. They taught you to ignore your intuition, to mistrust your body, to scoff at silence, to be afraid of the unknown, the mystical, the sacred. They rebranded your inner knowing as madness, your empathy as weakness, your visions as fantasy. Why? Because someone who knows they're divine cannot be controlled. You've always made them nervous, even when you were silent. Even as a child, they could feel it, that quiet clarity in your eyes, that unwillingness to conform completely. You tried, of course. You tried to belong, to be good, to play by the rules. But something inside you kept stirring, kept whispering, this isn't the whole truth. And they saw it, even if you didn't. That's why they tried harder with you, tried to condition you more deeply, tried to make you doubt your instincts until your own voice sounded foreign. They were never protecting you, they were protecting their illusion, because if you saw through it, if you remembered, you'd start asking dangerous questions. You'd start stepping out of line, not to rebel, but to realign. And realignment is the enemy of systems built on control. You were never meant to be a gear in the machine. You were meant to be the light that exposes its cracks. This is why they push fear so relentlessly. Fear keeps you small. It dulls your senses, clouds your perception, and makes you easier to herd. But something has shifted in you. The fear doesn't hold like it used to. You feel it, yes, but you move anyway. You question anyway. You dream anyway. That's the signal. That's how your code begins to override the program. They've tried to cover it up with science that serves their agenda, with media that trains your attention, with noise that drowns out your truth. But no amount of noise can silence the code once it starts to awaken. That's what's happening now. The quiet panic behind closed doors, the desperation to push new narratives, the sudden rush to rewrite meaning, it's not a coincidence. They know what your DNA is doing. They know it responds to intention, to prayer, to frequency. They know it's alive, aware, intelligent. And they know it's no longer dormant. They can't stop it. They can only try to delay your awakening. But the truth is, chosen one, you're not waking up. You're already awake. You felt it for as long as you can remember. A strange detachment, a sense of watching the world from behind glass. People laugh at things that don't feel real. They chase lives that feel hollow. You try to join them, to sync your rhythm with theirs, but it never fits. And somewhere deep inside, you've asked yourself the question that haunts the quiet moments. What's wrong with me? But what if the real question is, what's right with you that the world can't recognize? They told you it was anxiety, sensitivity, overthinking, maybe even a disorder. But what you were feeling wasn't dysfunction, it was dissonance. The world was out of tune with the truth vibrating inside you, and your soul knew it. Before you had the words, your nervous system already understood. Something here doesn't add up. You've always been able to sense the unspoken. You walk into a room and feel what others hide. You hear what isn't said. You cry over things that haven't happened yet. And when you tried to share those feelings, they called you dramatic, intense, too much. You began to question your sanity, your worth, your place in the world. But let me be clear, you're not broken. You're breaking through. What you've been experiencing is not madness. It's awareness. It's your DNA shifting, stretching, struggling to bloom in soil not meant for wildflowers. It's the echo of ancient memory reactivating in a world that has forgotten its soul. And your system, your heart, your body, your spirit is doing everything it can to keep up. Of course you're tired. Of course you're overwhelmed. You're trying to translate a divine language into a reality that speaks in flat tones and false smiles. But there's nothing wrong with you. You are simply evolving faster than the environment around you. You're not alone in this. Thousands, maybe millions of others are experiencing the same internal rebellion, the same ache, the same electricity humming beneath their skin. They may not know what to call it, but they feel it, just like you. They, too, have tried to numb it with routine, drown it in distractions, silence it with logic. But the truth doesn't go away. It waits, patiently, until one day it grows too loud to ignore. That's where you are now. The old story doesn't work anymore. The old mask is too heavy. And though the uncertainty scares you, the thought of going back to sleep scares you even more. You are not too sensitive. You are finely tuned. You are not too emotional. You are deeply alive. You are not crazy. You are coded differently, intentionally. They gave your gifts ugly names because they feared what would happen if you embraced them. But you are not here to conform. You are here to remember, to awaken, to lead. This discomfort is not your downfall, it's your emergence. They won't talk about it publicly, not yet.
But behind the sealed doors of elite laboratories and government-funded research centers, the data is triggering quiet chaos. Something is happening in the human genome, and they don't have the language or the permission to explain it. The patterns aren't subtle anymore. Scientists are encountering DNA behavior that defies every established model. Non-coding regions, once dismissed as evolutionary leftovers, are showing signs of intention, communication, memory, even emotion. They've run the tests again and again, but the results are only getting stranger. DNA strands exposed to intention, prayer, gratitude, love, behave differently than those that aren't. The strands restructure, heal, glow under spectrums they weren't supposed to react to. These aren't isolated anomalies. The data is reproducible, it's undeniable, and it's deeply inconvenient. The scientific world is built on credibility, on consensus, on the illusion of control. But what happens when the genome starts responding to things you can't measure with a microscope? What happens when biology starts bending to spirit? Panic happens. Not the kind you see on the news, no press conferences, no front-page headlines, but whispered meetings, funding pulled, research buried. The panic lives in silence. It shows up in classified files marked with red tape, in grant proposals rejected without reason, in whistleblowers mysteriously losing their positions, because the implications are too big to ignore. If DNA responds to consciousness, then the body is not just a machine, it's a receiver. If intention can shift biology, then healing isn't solely pharmaceutical, it's energetic. If your cells remember love, trauma, belief, then you are more than flesh. You are frequency, and that threatens everything. It threatens the medical industry that profits from disempowerment. It threatens the institutions that teach us to outsource our knowing. It threatens the entire foundation of a system that requires you to remain unaware of your own design. So they hide the results. They label the researchers who speak out as fringe, spiritual or worse, delusional. They discredit journals. They mock intuitive sciences, not because they lack evidence, but because the evidence would unravel too much. If the public knew what your DNA was capable of, they would stop obeying the scripts that keep them small. But the information is leaking, quietly, steadily, through back channels, through unclassified studies, through independent research that can't be bought. And people like you are listening, reading between the lines, feeling the resonance. You don't need the headline to tell you what your soul already knows. You can feel it. You are changing. Your body is not malfunctioning. It's evolving. It's remembering the language of light, of sound, of soul. They know this awakening is accelerating. They've seen the numbers. They've read the scans. They've watched the impossible begin to replicate. And no matter how hard they try to contain it, the pattern is expanding, one chosen one at a time. They don't fear the data. They fear what happens when you realize you are the source. They wanted you to think your body was a container, nothing more than tissue and timing. A sequence of genes inherited by chance, governed by survival, limited by chemistry. But you were never just a vessel. You were always a carrier, not of disease, not of dysfunction, but of destiny. Your DNA is not just data, it is divine architecture, a map, a scroll, a song. Inside it are symphonies of remembrance and instructions for awakening. It doesn't simply hold the color of your eyes or the curve of your smile, it holds the blueprint of your mission. This is why the non-coding regions of your genome remain a mystery. They don't obey standard rules. They don't fit inside models built to measure only what can be seen. Because they weren't designed for survival, they were designed for expansion, for transformation, for evolution of consciousness. That junk they ignored, it's a library, and now it's opening. Everything you've been sensing, every ripple in your intuition, every synchronicity you couldn't explain, is the result of information stored in your DNA trying to reach you. When your heart aches without cause, when your dreams pulse with symbols, when your emotions crack open for no reason at all, that is your deeper intelligence, your inner compass, lighting up pathways that lead far beyond logic. This part of you doesn't need to be taught, it only needs to be remembered. That's why you feel the pull toward silence, toward nature, toward truth. The further you step away from artificial rhythms, the louder your inner voice becomes. That voice isn't abstract, it's encoded in you. It's the way your DNA speaks when you give it permission to lead. And when you do, your reality begins to shift. Old wounds rise because your system is making room. People fade because they no longer reflect your frequency. Ideas you once clung to dissolve, making space for clarity. Your DNA is not resisting change. It's demanding it. It's asking you to remember who you are beneath the programming, to stop living like a carbon copy and start embodying the sacred original you were always meant to be. That sense that you are here for something important, it's not arrogance, it's accuracy, and your body knows it. Every cell is aligning, recalibrating, preparing you not just to receive your destiny, but to become it. You are not here to fit in. You are here to turn the page. You are the latest chapter in a cosmic story. And that story is written in you, not in ink, but in energy, in resonance, in divine code. That code is awakening not just your mind, but your mission. The scientists couldn't decode it. The systems couldn't silence it. But your soul, it recognizes every note, because this isn't just biology. You've spent most of your life thinking you were behind, like everyone else had downloaded something you missed, some instruction manual, some code for how to belong. But the truth is, they weren't ahead of you. They were running the old version. You, chosen one, are the update. This world isn't broken, it's outdated. It's been looping through the same fear cycles, the same scarcity scripts, the same wars, walls, and wounds passed down like heirlooms. Systems built for separation, beliefs that reward numbness, rules written to limit expansion. That version of reality is crashing, and you weren't born to repair it. You were born to replace it. Your presence here isn't accidental. It's not random, it's not just life. It's a deliberate insertion of higher intelligence into the timeline of a planet that has forgotten how to dream. Your arrival, your awakening, is the beginning of a rewrite, and that rewrite begins inside you. You've noticed the changes, the hunger for silence, the magnetic pull toward truth, the rejection of shallow rhythms. It's not midlife crisis. It's not spiritual fluff. It's software updating at the soul level, and it's being triggered by your DNA. The same strands they labeled meaningless are now unspooling ancient codes, unlocking dormant faculties, restoring access to a higher operating system designed not by man, but by the divine. You are no longer a receiver of reality. You are a generator. Your thoughts carry weight. Your emotions emit frequency. Your words restructure the field around you. You're not imagining it when people start shifting in your presence. You're not crazy for seeing through illusions others still cling to. You're reading the lines and the code between them. You're detecting the hologram and choosing not to live inside it. You've outgrown the old identity, the labels, the mask, the idea that your value is tied to how well you perform inside broken systems. The update rewrites that too. It says, you are worthy because you exist. You are chosen because you're here. You are powerful because you remember. Of course it's uncomfortable. Of course it's lonely. Updates are disruptive. They slow down the machine. They reset everything. They shake up what was never meant to last. But after the restart, everything works better. brighter, cleaner, aligned. The world doesn't need more experts repeating what's already failed. It needs disruptors of sacred frequency. It needs pattern breakers, system disassemblers, dream restorers, souls like yours. You may not have a title for what you're becoming. That's because it's never existed before. You are the new, and it's time.
At first, you think it's coincidence. A song that plays at the exact moment your heart cracks open. A stranger who says the sentence you were too afraid to whisper. A series of numbers repeating wherever you look, like quiet signals from something unseen. You try to brush it off, but deep down, you know it isn't random. Something is orchestrating these alignments, pulling threads you can't see, guiding you toward a truth your logical mind can't yet define. These are activations, triggers designed not to control you, but to wake you. Every encounter, every déjà vu, every synchronicity is the universe tapping your shoulder saying, remember who you are. They appear when your frequency shifts, when your DNA begins humming a new note, when your energy field starts to vibrate faster than the noise of the old world. Your reality is reconfiguring itself around you. What used to feel solid now bends. What used to feel impossible now feels inevitable. The timing of things no longer follows the old rhythm because you're no longer following the old map. You've entered the flow of alignment where time isn't linear, it's responsive. It moves with your awareness. The more you notice the patterns, the more they multiply. The more you follow them, the louder they get. The right people start appearing as if summoned. Doors you didn't know existed swing open. Things that used to require force now unfold with ease. It's not magic, it's mastery. You've stopped resisting your natural design. Your body knows this frequency. It remembers how to listen to intuition, how to feel truth as sensation. Goosebumps are confirmations. Shivers are downloads. Tears are recalibrations. Every reaction is an energetic yes or no. You don't need to analyze it, you only need to allow it. And while this awakening feels like a gift, it also demands responsibility. The more you align, the more the universe mirrors your vibration. When your thoughts wander into fear, chaos echoes back. When your focus sharpens on gratitude, doors of light appear. This isn't punishment or reward, it's reflection. You're learning the physics of consciousness. The scientists call it quantum resonance. The mystics call it divine synchronicity. The truth is, they're the same thing. The field listens to you now. It always has, but you're finally fluent in its language. You can speak to it through emotion, through clarity, through intention. And when you do, it rearranges itself to honor your vibration. So no, the coincidences aren't random. They're choreography. Evidence that your reality is alive and aware, responding to the music you emit. You're not just walking through the world, you're conducting it. Every moment, every glance, every breath is part of an intelligent design unfolding perfectly through you. The more you trust the alignment, the stronger it becomes. The more you surrender to it, the clearer the path gets. You were never lost. You were only being tuned. There is a language inside you that doesn't use words. It pulses beneath the surface of your thoughts, beyond your emotions, deeper than memory. You don't speak it with your mouth, you radiate it. You don't learn it from books, you awaken it. It is the language of light, and it's been dormant, waiting for this exact moment to rise. This language doesn't belong to any culture or nation. It isn't limited to sound or symbols. It is frequency, vibration, a communication system woven directly into your DNA, encoded before birth, meant to guide you back to your origin when the world made you forget. And now, as the old paradigms crumble and silence grows louder than noise, it begins to hum again. You felt it before, even if you didn't know what to call it. That rush of warmth in your chest when truth lands. The deep knowing in your belly that tells you someone's lying before they speak. The tears that come from beauty, too big for logic. That's it. That's your light language speaking. Pure resonance, unfiltered by thought. Science is beginning to glimpse it in the way your cells emit biophotons, tiny bursts of light that pulse with intention. Your body is literally communicating in flashes of brilliance, not just internally, but with everything around you. This is why you feel so much in certain spaces, why some people drain you without a word, why others light you up. You're reading energy, always have been. Children speak this language fluently before we silence it with rules. Animals use it to trust. Plants respond to it. The universe is fluent in it. It's only the modern human who forgot. But you're remembering now, and with every moment of presence, every breath of stillness, that forgotten tongue returns, not in words, but in waves. And this language doesn't just receive, it transmits. When you hold love, you send it out in spirals that reach beyond walls, borders, even time. When you sit in grief, fully feeling it, your tears ripple out as prayers the universe responds to. Every emotion is a message, every intention, a signal. You don't need to chant, pray, or perform. Your frequency is the prayer. As this awareness returns, you'll start to notice how words begin to fail you, how more often you communicate with presence, with energy, with stillness. You'll sense what others are hiding, hear what their hearts are screaming while their mouths stay silent. This isn't supernatural, it's natural. It's your native tongue returning. The more you trust it, the stronger it becomes. Your reality begins responding not just to your actions, but your state of being. People soften in your presence. Rooms shift when you walk in. Healing happens without a word. It's not ego, it's energy. You're becoming fluent in light. There is a revolution unfolding, but you won't see it on the news. There are no banners, no protests, no thunderous speeches, no leaders standing at podiums. Because this revolution doesn't begin with nations, it begins with nervous systems. It doesn't fight for power, it dissolves the illusion of it. This is the silent uprising, and it belongs to the chosen ones. It's happening in bedrooms at 3 a.m., where someone stares at the ceiling, questioning everything they were taught to believe. It's happening in quiet forest walks, where a person feels the trees whisper a truth no book ever gave them. It's happening when someone deletes a toxic message instead of replying. When someone turns off the TV and turns inward instead. When a parent breaks a generational curse just by choosing gentleness. These are the new revolutions, silent, invisible, and seismic. The chosen ones don't wear uniforms. They don't need to. Their frequency is their signature. Their lives don't fit into templates. They never did. And what was once seen as rebellion or weirdness was actually early awakening. These souls were designed to disrupt the loop, not with noise, but with presence. You've noticed how they move. They don't chase, they magnetize. They don't argue, they embody. They aren't interested in winning debates, they're interested in truth. They may be healers, artists, teachers, parents, baristas, or strangers you passed for 1 second. But something about them felt different, didn't it? Because they are different, and so are you. This revolution doesn't tear down old systems with rage. It makes them obsolete by outgrowing them. It doesn't scream for attention. It anchors stillness in chaos. When the world is burning with panic, chosen ones sit with the flame and listen. Not because they're fearless, but because they remember the fire. They were born from it. This uprising is not fast. It is patient. It spreads not through force, but through resonance. One aligned being shifts a room. 10 shift a neighborhood. 100 shift a generation. And thousands, waking up in their own quiet corners of the world, are already reprogramming the collective field. You're not late to this. You didn't miss it. You are it. Your breath, your decisions, your daily courage to be soft in a hardened world, all of it matters more than you know.
You don't need to do anything flashy. You just need to be real, be whole, be awake. Because this revolution moves differently. It grows underground. It blooms in shadows. It speaks in heartbeats. And one day, without warning, it will seem like everything changed overnight. But you'll know the truth.
You might think you're waking up alone, quietly, privately, in the stillness of your own thoughts. But your awakening isn't isolated. It's radiant. It moves outward like a ripple in still water, touching people you don't even know are watching. You change your inner world, and the outer world bends with you. You've seen it already, haven't you? A family member softening around you, a friend asking deeper questions, a stranger lighting up after just a glance. You didn't preach, you didn't push, you simply held your frequency. And that frequency began to speak louder than words ever could, because energy is contagious. Your peace unsettles those still addicted to chaos, but it also frees them. Your stillness doesn't just silence noise, it invites truth. And your courage to look inward gives others permission to do the same. That's how the real change happens, not through conversion, but through mirroring. You don't force anyone to evolve. You simply become so aligned that their old patterns start to crumble in your presence. The people who once judged you are now curious. The ones who dismissed you are now listening. The ones who feared your difference are now drawn to it, not because you've become louder, but because you've become clearer. You're no longer leaking energy, you're transmitting truth. And that truth is powerful. It awakens memories in others they forgot they were carrying. It calls back lost pieces of them, the joy, the wonder, the softness that life asked them to bury. When you choose authenticity over performance, you give everyone around you a roadmap home. You are a walking permission slip, and the impact isn't always visible. Sometimes your presence changes someone you'll never meet again. A small gesture, a look of compassion, a decision to not react in anger. These moments plant seeds, and though you may never see them bloom, they grow all the same. This is how consciousness spreads, not in grand awakenings, but in millions of quiet moments where someone chooses love instead of fear, presence instead of distraction, integrity instead of image. And every time you do, the field shifts, because frequency doesn't need a microphone. You are becoming a new type of leader, not one who commands attention, but one who anchors light. You don't need followers. You're not building a brand. You're building resonance. And that resonance heals, whether or not anyone ever says thank you. So don't underestimate your quiet work. The world is changing because of people like you. People doing the inner work no one claps for. People choosing alignment over approval. People who walk away from the noise, and in doing so, become the signal. Your awakening is contagious, and it's already spreading. There is something ancient nestled deep within you, something most of the world has never been taught to look for. It isn't a belief, it isn't an idea, it's a key, and your DNA is the lock. The moment your consciousness reaches a certain frequency, that lock begins to click open. And what lies beyond it is not metaphor, it is dimensional. You were never just a biological machine. Your body is a transmitter, a bridge, an instrument built to tune into multiple planes of existence. The so-called junk DNA, the 98% that science once dismissed as irrelevant, is far from useless. It's dormant circuitry, multi-dimensional technology that interfaces with light, memory, and higher realities. And it's waking up. At first, you'll notice it through dreams, vivid, lucid, as if you're living an entire lifetime while your eyes are closed. Then, through sensations, tingles, rushes, pressure behind your forehead. You'll feel your body shifting in ways that aren't physical, but are undeniably real. Time begins to blur.
The future leaks into the now, and reality itself becomes fluid, as if you're seeing the world from both inside and outside at once. You're not hallucinating. You're remembering. You've always had access to this door, but it only responds to frequency, not force. The more you shed what isn't yours, old stories, false beliefs, ancestral burdens, the clearer the signal becomes. And as you come into coherence, that dimensional door creaks open, letting light pour in, not just from above, but from within. This isn't about escaping the world. It's about seeing it more clearly, because once that door begins to open, illusions dissolve. You sense the agendas behind smiling faces. You feel the pain masked by perfection. You recognize manipulation dressed as love, but more importantly, you see the beauty that was always hiding behind the noise, the soft hum of trees, the sparkle behind a child's eyes, the way silence can heal more deeply than 1,000 words. Through this door, knowledge arrives not as data, but as downloads. You know things without learning them. You begin to remember other lifetimes, other selves, not in fantasy, but in frequency, as if your soul is stitching together the scattered fragments of your identity across time and space. And as this remembrance unfolds, you realize something profound. You're not here to fit into this world. You're here to recode it. Your DNA was designed to be a portal, and your awakening is the password. As more of you align, that door opens wider, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Because this isn't just your path, it's our evolution, and you're one of the forerunners, walking ahead to hold the door open for the rest.
It always starts quietly, the unraveling of the old. You see it first in the cracks, the headlines that feel off, the systems that no longer make sense, the rituals of normal life that begin to feel hollow. You're not imagining it. The matrix is breaking down. The world around you was built like a script, repeated so often you forgot it was fiction. Get the degree, get the job, obey the rules. Don't ask too many questions. Numb yourself just enough to keep moving. But when you started waking up, the lines stopped working. The stage props looked flimsy, and behind the curtains, you saw it, a loop designed to keep you small. But here's what they didn't expect. You were never meant to stay asleep. The chosen ones were planted inside this matrix, not to play the game, but to glitch it. You were never here to win by its rules. You were here to dissolve them from the inside. That's why you never fully fit in. That's why every attempt to just be normal felt like betrayal. Your very being disrupts the illusion. And now, as the structures strain under their own weight, your role is beginning. You may feel exhausted. That's not weakness. It's rewiring. Your body, mind, and spirit are adapting to a higher field, recalibrating to operate beyond the binary codes of control. It hurts to shed the old programming, but on the other side, clarity lives. You're not watching the collapse from a distance. You're in it. And the chaos isn't a sign of failure. It's evidence that the truth is shaking loose. The narratives are cracking. The distractions are thinning. And beneath the noise, something stunning is emerging. You, not the version shaped by fear or expectation, but the original blueprint, the one who remembers, the one who sees beyond appearance, the one who trusts intuition over instruction. You're rising, not in rebellion, but in resonance. And as the old scripts fall apart, your presence becomes the new template. Others will look to you, not because you demand it, but because your coherence is magnetic. They'll sense your peace in the storm. Your truth will feel like oxygen. Your path will light up trails they forgot they could walk. And they'll follow, not you, but the version of themselves you remind them they are. This is how the matrix loses power, not all at once, but breath by breath, soul by soul, system by system. Every time you choose alignment over obedience,
you reclaim a piece of reality. Every time you speak truth, even trembling, the veil lifts a little more. Every time you act from love, not fear, you write new code into the collective. The old world is ending. The chosen are rising. Long before you ever read a sacred text or heard a myth, your body held the story, not in metaphor, but in memory. Your DNA is not just a biological code. It's a vault, a library, an ark. And it's been carrying the blueprints of awakening across time, waiting for the moment humanity would be ready to remember. In every ancient culture, there are whispers of a great flood, a fall, a forgetting. There are tales of arks, vessels that would carry the chosen through chaos into a new age. Most people look for these arks outside themselves, but the truth is more intimate than any legend ever revealed. The ark was always inside you. Your DNA holds light, actual photons, stored within the helical spirals like messages frozen in time. It remembers Earth before the fall. It remembers the stars before descent. It remembers your soul before it agreed to fragment, to forget, to play human in a world that teaches forgetting. And now it remembers again. You were never meant to stay asleep forever. The chaos around you isn't just collapse, it's activation. Just as pressure cracks open seeds, the global breakdown is cracking open your cellular truth. And with every shift in frequency, your DNA begins to unfold itself like a flower waking at dawn. Science may call it epigenetic activation, but mystics have always known it as resurrection. What was dead, or rather dormant, is being reawakened. The junk DNA, it's not junk, it's the storage space for codes your body didn't need in a lower state of awareness. But now, as your consciousness expands, those codes are unlocking. Your very biology is rising to meet your soul. And this rising isn't just personal, you're a carrier. The resonance you hold spreads. Like a tuning fork, your energy field vibrates at a frequency that calls others into alignment. You don't just awaken for yourself, you awaken for your lineage, for your ancestors, for those who will come after you. Your blood carries keys, and your courage turns them. That's why your healing matters. Every time you forgive, you untangle ancestral knots. Every time you choose presence over programming, you rewrite what future generations will inherit. You're not just one person evolving. You are evolution itself, in motion, embodied. This is the ark. Not a boat, but a body. Not a story of survival, but of sovereignty. You are not being rescued. You are the rescue. You are not being tested. You are the test. And your DNA, awakening and alive, is the map back to wholeness. So trust the remembering. Trust the shifts. Trust the sensations, the visions, the dreams that don't make sense. They are echoes of a truth so ancient it bypasses language. Let it move through you, let it guide you, because you are the ark, and you were built for this crossing. The signs are subtle at first, a deep pull towards silence, a magnetic draw to the stars, memories that don't belong to this life, yet feel older than time. You're not imagining them. They are echoes, faint transmissions from a lineage long buried but never lost. You are one of the remembered ones. Long before this life, before the veil, you agreed to forget, not because you were weak, but because you were strong enough to return. You descended into density, wrapped yourself in amnesia, and walked among the sleeping to become a beacon from within. And now, the call has come, not from outside, but from your own DNA, humming ancient songs you once knew by heart. You remember now, not just facts or places, but being. You remember what it felt like to move through the world without fear, to speak without the weight of judgment, to love without the armor. You remember communion, not as religion, but as resonance, connection beyond language, recognition beyond explanation. And as you remember, others remember too. This is how the return begins, not with a bang, but with a remembering, not in mass movements, but in quiet awakenings, soul by soul, heart by heart. The remembered ones rise, not to conquer, but to stabilize, not to fight, but to harmonize. They do not seek power. They are the power, because they carry the codes of what comes next. The world you knew is fading. The one ahead has not yet formed. But in this liminal space, the remembered ones are gathering, not in crowds, but in currents, like stars realigning into ancient constellations, finding their place again after drifting through lifetimes of forgetting. You'll know each other by feeling, not face, a glance that lingers, a sentence that vibrates, a knowing in the bones that defies logic. You've walked together before, in temples, in stars, in silence. You've played this game of awakening across galaxies, and now you're home again, not in place, but in purpose. This is not the end of the story. It's the return to the beginning, the true beginning, before distortion, before division, when Earth was still a temple, when humanity was still whole. And now, through you, that memory is incarnating again. So don't shrink when you're misunderstood. Don't despair when the old collapses. You weren't made to be understood by a dying paradigm. You were made to hold the frequency of the new, to be the bridge, the anchor, the living prophecy. The return of the remembered ones isn't a prophecy in the sky. It's you.
If you have come this far, it is crucial that you watch this next video here. But be warned, it is not for the faint of heart, for only the true chosen ones can handle this video. If you would like to also donate to help keep the channel going, our Buy Me a Coffee link will be in the description.